Hey there, this is Dennis Anyone with Dennis Hensley. It's a podcast about making things up and making things happen. I love creative people. I love talking to them about how they do their thing, how they hang in there, and especially when I talk to somebody who has a really wonderful attitude. And that is certainly the case with my guest today. His name is Paul Cher. He did this podcast before as Paul Ybarra. And he has changed his last name, and we get into why early in the podcast, and it's a fascinating story. But anyway, he was on the podcast before because he created a tarot card deck I think they're all self-portraits of him in straitjackets, which is a big fetish of his. And we talked about that. But now he's also a musician, and he has a wonderful new EP out called Home to Wonderland. And we're having a little listening party on this podcast. We're going to play a little bit of it, of each song, and talk about the inspiration for them. He's also, the story about the name change is fascinating up top. And he's just got this great energy about him. And I love that he's open about his fetishes and has made that a thing. And I just find him like sunshine with tattoos. He's like sunshine with tattoos. But before we get to the interview and the listening party, I want to remind you that this podcast is brought to you by me. I do it because I love it. I love having these conversations. But if you want to support it, you can do a few things. You can go to DennisAnyone.net and leave a tip in my virtual tip jar. Help me cover my expenses of web hosting and things like that. You can also subscribe to my Patreon and Substack. It's called Dennis Hensley's Happy and Gay. It's free at the moment. I was charging originally, but I got a full-time job, and so I don't post there so much anymore. But I try to do it at least once a month. I really enjoy it. It's fun. You can also come and see my play. It's this Sunday is our last scheduled performance. It's part of a Beyond the Fringe festival, the theater that we are doing the play at. They're having this festival. It's at 5 p.m. on Sunday at the Actors Company on Formosa in Hollywood. I love this play so much. I've had such a journey with it. I think the cast is really cohered and come together, and I don't know. If you haven't seen it, I would love it if you came. The link for tickets is on my Instagram bio. You could also go to theactorscompanyla.com, and then when they have their calendar, and you can also just show up at 5. I don't think we're going to sell out, and if we have to add chairs, well, then that's even more exciting. But it's been the biggest creative journey of my life. Meaningful, magical, a lot of tears. Just, I find it so moving, the whole thing. And what a treat to be able to do it one more time. So there's that. Also, the Mismatch Game is coming back on August 28th. It's our 80s themed show. We haven't locked down a cast yet, but you can learn about that also on my Instagram. There's a link tree there, and there's links to the tickets. It's going to be really fun. Friday the 28th at 7:30. Finally, I'm going to be part of a cruise with DNR Travel. That's Derek and Romaine, who host my podcast as part of their thing as well. And it's going to be in February from the 7th to the 14th in Mexico out of LA. It's the Live Love Podcast Cruise. So I don't know if I'm living or loving or what part I'm doing, but it will be fun. And you can learn about that at dnrtravel.com. All right, that's a lot of plugs. Here now is my interview and listening party with Paul Cher. Joining me now from Hollywood, California, it's Paul Cher, singer-songwriter. He also is a tarot card aficionado and has his own line of tarot cards and does a lot of interesting things. Welcome back to the Paulcast. It should be the Paulcast because it's you. Welcome back to the podcast. I may or may not keep that.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's start with the name, because the last time I interviewed you, you had a different name.
I did.
And now you have you've changed your last name to Cher, like the icon.
Yes.
So what's the story there?
So legally, my name is still Paul Ybarra, just because it's easier to cash checks that way. It's easier to go through the airport that way. But in 2024, I did a DNA test, and I always suspected that the person I thought that I'm named after, Paul Ybarra, the man who has been my dad for the last 50 years. He's a very dark Mexicano. Very proud Latino. He used to give me such crap about not being Mexican enough. And then when the whole gay thing came up, it became one of those, don't come and visit me, don't bring up the last name. And I didn't. But I always thought, I didn't think I was in Ybarra. So I did a DNA test. And all of a sudden it kept populating all of these people, these really beautiful people that were not Latino, that were on my dad's side. And I reached out, and the last name Charette came up. And I asked my mom about this last name because I thought, Mom, who is this person? She goes, oh, Charette. It was the name of a guy that was my boss in 1974. He was such a sweetheart. And I said, Mom, how big a sweetheart was he? Oh, he was just a nice guy, and Well, it turns out he is my biological father. When we did the DNA test, I thought I was talking to one of my cousins. It turned out it was one of my nieces. My mom babysat 3 of her boss's daughters, and one of them actually named her daughter after my mom, and they remembered my mom. So I have 3 half-sisters that remember my mom very clearly. And when I approached this with my mom, with the last name Charette, saying, I think that's my dad, she's like, oh, no, mijo, DNA lies. And I'm thinking, Mama, DNA doesn't lie.
Wow.
And they remembered you. They remembered Grandma and stuff. They remembered angry Paul Ybarra, your husband. So after a lot of like back and forth, she finally sort of fessed up that Ronald Charette, this ex-Marine, ex-police officer from Bristol, Massachusetts, Bristol, Rhode Island, and Massachusetts, was my biological father. And all of this crap I used to get for being not Mexican enough, it turns out I'm not Mexican. I am Irish, French Canadian, and 23% Creole. So
wow. Wow.
It was like winning the lottery, though, because it took all the heat off of, I knew I couldn't live up to that last name.
Right.
All of my cousins on my dad's side, who I was raised with, are very, very dark complected. They're beautiful, proud Latinos. And my brother and I were the only, like, black-eyed peas out of all of this group of, like, very dark Latinos.
Yeah.
We joined the Latin Student Union in high school. When we used to get bullied at school for being gay, my mom was like, oh, no, mijo, it's not because of that. You know, it's because you're Mexican. They're racist. And I'm thinking, Mom, those kids weren't racist. I felt like I was the Rachel Dolezal of
wow.
Latinos, because I was raised thinking I was this Mexicano last name, and it wasn't. So the last name is Charette. I wanted to belong to myself. So it is spelled Chareette. I switched out the E and made it I switched out the A and made it an E, so Cher, and took out the et. So when the family is Ron Charette is gone. My biological father passed away in 2018. But his family is very, very conservative. They're not really, they're very conservative. I'll put it that way. So out of respect for that, and also just wanting to belong to myself, I thought I'm going to be Paul Cher, because that's part of my last name, and it really is who I am. And it feels so free to let go of those identities that I could never fit into. And then this sort of fit into it. And I thought, well, of course, Cher being a gay icon, it sort of fits into why the real last name would have Cher and Charette being part of that. So that's why Paul Cher came about. Sorry, that's a long story.
It's an amazing story. It's a jaw dropper. I mean, I can't, my jaw was on the floor for the whole thing. And also you've done some covers of Cher. You did 2 albums of it? I
did 2 full albums of Cher covers. They're the only Cher covers that exist. The only albums that explore the Cher songbook. We did 2 full albums. Me and my collaborator, John Ballinger, we remixed and rearranged all of her dance hits to make them more rockabilly and more ethereal.
I love them. They're very haunting. They're very cool, what you did with that. So it makes perfect sense. So how did the other people in your family react to this news? Like your brother and people, because you were the one that found out, right? You were the one that cracked the case. Yeah.
My mom hung up on me. She didn't talk to me for like a week and a half.
Wow.
And then when trying to bring it out of her, she slowly sort of fessed up to it. But anytime she wanted to tell me deep, dark secrets of who my biological dad was, because she knew him from 1974 to like the mid 80s. So it wasn't just a one-off fling. It was a definite relationship. She just became very secretive, and she essentially, she told my brother that, oh, mijo, it's just like, you're adopted. And it sort of messed up our identity, because for like 50 years, we've been struggling to fit into this identity and live up to this Ybarra last name that could never fit with us. So I've had more of a sense of humor about it. My brother's had a harder time with it, understandably so, because the dad that I'm named after, who was our dad, who's still alive, who still does not know, he's not very tech savvy, so he doesn't even know,
he's not a big listener of Dennis, anyone? He's probably not listening to this podcast as we speak?
Not yet, but he probably will be in the next couple of weeks, I have a feeling.
Wow. You're the 3rd person I've talked to in the last 2 years that have had a DNA surprise like this. There's a guy named Michael McHale who has a 1-person show about it, and he was always looking for his father. And Bruce Valanche had a story like this as well.
Oh, I love that. We're in good company.
Yeah,
great.
yeah, and they both talked about it on my show. But I think I have that fantasy of like having a long lost relative or something like that, because I don't have a lot of close family, and the family that is still living doesn't live near me, and I don't have a lot of bad blood in my family. But I do love that idea of like maybe a cool person that I didn't know, and also I wasn't particularly close to my father at all.
Right. I tried to close with my dad, and my dad, the one I'm named after, he was a very detached. Being gay, really, my brother and I were so gay at probably 6 or 7 years old. The gayness, like most gay kids, it comes out. You're not even trying to be gay. That's just you're being who you are. So it was such an affront to my family. They were very Catholic, very, very conservative. We were not close with them on my mom and dad's side. The last time I saw any of that family was probably 1987. It was a long time ago. And I'm with you. To me, it was like discovering you're a Romanov, or discovering, your royalty, like knowing that I was Creole. Like it made sense. I remember when I lived in Houston, a lot of Creole people from Louisiana, after Hurricane Katrina came through, they would say, "Paul, you're Creole." And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I'd be honored. This culture is so beautiful and wonderful. And every Creole person back in the probably 10 years I lived in Houston recognized me as being kin. And I thought they were just being polite. And so when I got the DNA results, I'm thinking, holy crap, they knew there was such love. There was such a recognition that I could not get from my mom's side, my blood family, or the side from my dad, who I was raised with. So it was like a homecoming. Those people back then knew who I was. And probably like you, and probably like Bruce Valanche, and people that did not have a good foundation of who they came from. My family was Donna Summer, Cher, Diana Ross. It was music. It was music that really embraced me. It became my family. It saved me. It grounded me. That was my family. Donna Summer and Diana Ross, all of those.
It's interesting because I think as we get older, we think that the dynamics of our childhood are going to fade more into the distance and not mean as much to us in our lives, not resonate as much, not matter. And I found the opposite to be true. I am dealing with dad stuff now. I am sort of reckoning with it and the lack of closeness there, how it affected me. I'm sort of connecting some dots. I've written a play that we've been doing staged readings of, and that's one of the themes of that. Like it's more prominent in my life thinking about those things than when I was in my 30s or 40s. Do you have a similar kind of trajectory? I
thought it would get easier dealing with some of this heavy stuff of knowing this new identity, knowing that, oh my gosh, for 50 years, I really struggled to fit into this. And I made peace with the Ybarra last name, thinking, well, I'll be the gay one. That'll be who I am.
Yeah.
And it haunts me in a way that I don't want it to, but I almost am gentle about it. I feel like the older we get, especially gay people, we sort of are wounded kids. We're always going to be wounded kids. And I dig that. I love that we have the unity together, that we all experience this in the same way.
Yeah.
And we are all wounded kids. So I feel like there's a connection, that the pain sort of connects us in a way that we become family for each other. I can't stress it enough. I'm so grateful for, as I've gotten older, the gay relationships I've made with friends and with the community I'm part of. It's stronger than any blood connection I've ever had before. Yeah. But it does. The things I thought would fade away, I have haunting dreams and recollections, or a smell will come through and I'm thinking, this is summer of 1986, or this is like, the time my mom stalked my dad because he was seeing another woman, and she rammed her car into the back of his car with the lady he was with me and my brother with it in 1983. So different things come up where I'm thinking, holy cow, this stuff does not leave you.
No.
So I look at them as friendly ghosts, and I love ghosts. I love it anyways. Haunt me. The ghosts are so much more interesting than the people that I thought was my family. So I'm like, oh, what a relief. At least they've got something interesting to talk about,
Yeah. Yeah. But you mentioned the wounded kids. In the play I'm writing, I'm telling, there's three main actors, and they're all gay, and one of them maybe a little bi, but I'm like, you're all little boys. There's little boys inside all of you. They're all like grown in the play, but like to me, the little boy is right there. I connect.
I'm so glad you can say that, because as I've gotten older, I still feel like a little kid. I mean, I pay my bills, my stuff is covered, I'm not reckless, but inside, and it's not like I still identify with the little kid that I was. I mean, I still get excited for new music. Madonna's new album,
it's the best. My God,
I'm out of this world about it.
Yeah.
It's so funny. I try, even when I go to sleep, I'll have like Love Sensation stuck in my head or Danceteria, and I'm thinking, holy crap, I'm so excited that I was alive before social media and before technology sort of changed the dance floor, where we had Madonna, Donna Summer, Cher, Annie Lennox remixes in the clubs in the 90s and the early 2000s. But to be in 2026 where Madonna has this kick-ass new album, I'm that little kid that gets so excited, because to me, Madonna is part of my family. She's speaking. I would trust Madonna more than I would trust my mom, and I mean that sincerely. I would trust the guidance of Madonna more than my mom, because she's always been there. My mom has not. And even at this stage in the game, my mom hasn't, but Madonna has for our community. She's shown up, and I identify with that. That's who I'm loyal to.
That's another theme in my play. There's Madonna mentions and a Madonna song in it, because I feel like she has been there for our community the whole way. And I went to the celebration tour, and I just started crying at the beginning because we were both still there.
Yes.
Like, we're just here after all of this, you know? And for me, like, Human Nature is the song that's in the play, because she was talking about not having shame around sexuality since the beginning of her career. And intellectually, I understood it and appreciated it, but I didn't metabolize it until more recently in my own life. You know, shame around sex is another theme in the show. And so I wanted to honor her in a way for the stalwartness. And is she rude sometimes? Probably, yes. But she means so much. And like just the idea that she survived and she's still here, I think it's incredible. And Danceteria, every little section is perfection. And then you put it all together and you're like, this is like the banger of the year. Like, this is incredible. I can't get over it. Anyways, this is a lot of stuff. Did you learn anything about your father related to art or creativity? Was it like, oh, he was a painter or something like that? Was there anything that connected those dots for you?
No. He was this ex-Marine fought in, like, I believe, the Korean War, was a police officer in Bristol, Massachusetts, was originally from Fall River, Massachusetts, which is the home of Lizzie Borden. So I'm hoping, please let me be related to Lizzie Borden, please, just because it's just such a badass thing. We all like, you know, these misunderstood sort of people, dangerous women. Gay guys need dangerous women. Yeah.
Everything you say could be the title of the episode. You know, I like to pull a quote, but you're full of them, and we're barely 10 minutes in. Was there a part of you that thought, oh, I wasn't crazy all this time? I wasn't crazy.
I always knew I wasn't. And my mom and my dad, I just always knew it was something. And it was something that was speaking to me on a spiritual level. And it must have been coming through the music of Donna Summer, through the discos, honestly, Madonna, Cher. I just knew that whatever I had going with me, this being gay was such a gift. It wasn't from my biology. Something else was going to come up, and I just knew it. And when the DNA test started coming up, it started showing all of these people on the paternal side, the father's side, on the East Coast. And I'm like, they know Mexicans on the East Coast. What's going on? You know, like from my side, all my dad's family that I was raised with are all cholos from like Southern California. So all of a sudden, all of these French-sounding last names and people from Opelousas, Louisiana, and Baton Rouge and Massachusetts were popping up, and I'm thinking, who are these white people? You know, like, where are the Mexicans? And but from what I learned from the little bit I had from my half sisters, who I only met once, who were very extremely conservative. They were angry that I did not vote the way they wanted me to vote back a few Decembers ago, and I'm thinking, ma'am, I'm gay. I'm going to vote for the people that are supporting us. I'm not going to vote for your fears. But from what they said, he was a very serious person. The half sister had told me that had he known that my brother and I were gay, he would not have been pleased. And I thought, you know what? Like Madonna, F that. Yeah. I didn't need you for 50 years. Yeah. Was the music. I got your DNA. I'm glad about that. But where the music and where the creativity came from, my mom likes to say it came from her side, but I don't know. I can't believe my mom. So maybe some other DNA part will come through it, and it'll be that Lizzie Borden connection. Maybe it'll be that real. Did
you see pictures of your biological father? Do you look like him?
I did. we sort of have the same, similar nose and similar like eyebrow structure. But as far as anything else, no, I don't look like anybody at my mom's side, and I don't look like anybody on his side. But I've had people that have connected through the Creole genealogy sites that I do look like. So I'm thinking eventually this is going to come through, because when I see Creole people, and I've had more Creole people come up and tell me, "You're kin. Where are you from? What bayou are you from?"
Yeah.
So what I understand from the 23andMe test and from the Ancestry test, they're all from Opelousas, Lafayette, but definitely from that southern part of Louisiana. So that's where the French Canadian and then the Creole come in. So
you did both.
I'm just waiting.
Oh, you did both.
Oh, yeah.
23andMe and Ancestry.com.
Yes.
And were the results the same, or you learned things from one that you wouldn't have learned from the other?
The 23andMe definitely connected me with people that, like my half-sisters, whether they wanted to know or not that there was this gay guy that is a half-brother that's just as much a charrette as they are.
Yeah.
Whereas the 23andMe showed me more of like, okay, you're from the Africa dysphoria of the 1860s. This is where your family's coming from. And they would show Lafayette. They would show Opelousas. They would show Baton Rouge, parts of East Texas. And I'm thinking, and it's funny, when I lived in Houston for 10 years, I got so homesick for it. And I kept thinking, I was born and raised on the West Coast. Why do I feel so at home here? And even I've told my husband, John, when I used to fantasize about like, oh, people of the ocean. I live by the ocean. I don't need it. I always feel at home in the bayous. I've always felt at home in the swamps. And it's funny. It was almost like being there and also having those Creole people I worked with connect with me. It was like a homecoming. I've never felt more at home than being in the swamps, honestly.
Wow. That's so interesting. Do you think your father suspected that you weren't his, or knew that you weren't his, and that was part of why he treated you the way he did?
I think so. My dad is so dark. He looks like Omar Sharif and just as dark as Omar Sharif, a very handsome, proud Latino man.
Yeah.
My brother had straight hair, had red body hair, high cheekbones. We did not look like any of the Ybarras. And I think he could suspect. He's never said it. He even says, oh, the best thing I've done after all this time was, be your guys' dad. And I'm thinking, you were horrible. Like he was a very angry person from the year one till I was 22, till they moved back to California. I was living up in Oregon at the time.
Yeah.
And he was a very angry person. He was an alcoholic, and he was a very heavy speed addict, which I didn't know.
Wow.
But he was always very angry and very fast. So he was very, unfortunately, very physically and very emotionally abusive. So he was always very detached from. And as a gay kid, because he was so angry, I thought, great, go away. Like, I want to go watch Soul Train and American Bandstand and
yeah.
The thing I could look for at that time in the 80s. Where are the Pointer Sisters playing at? I just didn't want anything to do with them. So I think he knew. I think his family knew, because his family would look at us like we were bastards. And I'm thinking, after all this time, of course they knew. And my biological dad, he was married to another woman. So it was very salacious.
Wow.
His wife knew that the twin mom was having were his. And the sisters, my half-sisters, shared that. My mom sort of shares a little bit of that, but still denies it. She doesn't like talking about it.
Yeah.
It's too bad, because it's so interesting. And
right.
I think it's incredible. I think that it's the biggest gift for a gay kid, especially who was not accepted by this very fast, angry person she was married to for almost 31 years. That, what a relief. I'm not the sum of this, that anger, that fire that really fueled a lot of unfortunately the destruction in my childhood. I'm not related to,
It's not part of me. It's like, I don't have to worry about that.
No, it feels so
gene
great.
coming through.
I'm more, yeah.
Wow. When did you find out? How long have you known?
I learned about it in December of 2024, and then December of 2023. In January of 2024 is when I went to Ancestry.com, and that's when it said your closest relatives are these three people. And I'm thinking, it showed this beautiful white girl who was she was beautiful. I'm thinking, I don't know. I don't have any blonde hair. I don't know. All my cousins on my dad's side are in jail or they're cholas. So I'm thinking, who is this white lady?
Yeah.
And we made contact, talking back and forth in Ancestry, and she was like, I'm not your cousin, I'm your niece. My mom remembers your mom, and you said the name Ron Charette. That's my grandpa. That's your dad. So that really.
Did you just fall out of your chair?
January officially. I always knew, even before Ancestry, I just knew. And I remember my brother would say, keep dreaming, just get used to it. This is who we are. We're part of this angry family that wants nothing to do with us. And I just thought, no, it's not us. I'm going to keep looking. I'm going to keep looking. I just knew. And I encourage people, if you just know that you're not of this, be persistent. Don't be discouraged. If it's in you, you'll know. It was something bigger that just kept saying, keep looking. And I kept looking. And sure enough, it was like truly discovering that, oh my God, I'm a Romanoff, or oh my God, I'm related to Lizzie Borden, or, Marie Laveau. It was incredible.
Yeah, that's incredible. And now that name is on your new record. It's an EP that you've created, and you've put out music before, and we mentioned the Cher stuff, but this is the first time you're writing original songs, right?
Yes. Yeah. I'd always written songs. I always wrote poetry. Oh, go ahead, please.
No, I was just going to say, what made you want to go into that direction? What gave you the confidence to be like, okay, I'm going to put my own stuff out now?
I was encouraged. I was really encouraged by my friends, and I had given my collaborator, John Ballinger, the guy that I did the two Cher records with, I gave him a lyric that I wrote, Home to Wonderland. And I said, hey, could we record this? I've got just this rough drum track. I know the melody. Can we do this? And we recorded it. And then later when I asked him for the masters, I said, hey, could I get the masters to this song? I just, wanted to share it with my friends. And he goes, wait. He goes, he's a professor at USC. He called me in the middle of his class and he goes, I don't ever do this. He goes, but you didn't write that song. And I'm thinking, oh yeah, I did. Home to Wonderland is a song I wrote. And he goes, no. The one we just did, Home to Wonderland. I'm thinking, I wrote it. And he's like, I thought it was an old song from the 80s that was some forgotten Morrissey song or Depeche Mode song. And I'm thinking, no, I wrote it. And he's like, Paul, you're onto something. Send me more. So I thought, really? I'm so grateful I work with such great people that don't bullshit me. Can I say that? I don't want to be rude.
Yeah, of course.
That don't they really tell me, hey, you're pitchy, or this could be better. His honesty and his excitement saying, whoa, you wrote that? Bring me more. Maybe think, ooh, maybe I'm onto something.
Yeah.
And so I brought him more, and he was like, just doing this. And it was with, honestly, my husband now, John Boswell and John Ballinger, that really said, do this. And both of these people are professionals that really do make a living making music. And I'm thinking, okay, these are people that would not want to see me fail or try and make me, make a fool of myself. That's why I was so afraid of sharing my original stuff. It's safe to do covers because they're great. I mean, doing the Cher songbook is great. Doing a Tori Amos song is fantastic because it's a Tori Amos masterpiece,
Yeah, and people already,
doing your own work
people
is
love
vulnerable.
it. Yeah.
Just having the encouragement from real professionals that were saying, you're onto something, keep doing this, really fortified me going, okay, that same feeling, even though this is vulnerable and I'm afraid, because you're sharing your poetry, it's very vulnerable.
Yeah.
These people don't want to see me fail. I'm going to keep doing this then. And that was exciting to hear, people that are truly saying, you're onto something, keep going. So I kept going.
All right. Well, I thought it would be fun to turn this into a little listening party since you've got an EP, so it's not a lot of songs, and listen to a little bit of each and then talk about them. So this first one is the title track,
sure.
Home to Wonderland. Do you want to say anything about it before we listen, or should we listen to a little bit and then say?
Oh, I'll just tell you, Home to Wonderland, I had a dream. That's where it came from. The lyric came to me in a dream. And it was just talking about the magical year of 1988. In 1988, my brother and I our family was in Santa Maria, California, which was really a podunk farming town. Now it's like a big wine area place in Central California on the coast. But it was a very dreary kind of a dumpy kind of town to come from. And we moved up to Southern Oregon to Ashland in 1988 for my family to open a restaurant. And 1988 was such a turning point for me and my brother because there was all this culture. And Ashland was such a city that they have a huge Shakespearean festival. It was like really living in a Renaissance fair that never closed 24/7.
Wow.
So the chorus talks about 1988, and returning to Home to Wonderland was going home to 1988, to that place, coming from basically Kansas into Oz. So that's what that is.
I love it. So it was a happy time for you, this 1988 era.
Yeah.
All right, let's listen to a little bit of it.
Please don't close the gate, 1988. Please don't turn around. We're reaching holy ground. And now we may cross the shifting sands. You've made it home to Wonderland.
I love that it came to you in a dream. You seem very tapped into like dreams, and you do tarot readings, and like you just seem tapped into these other realms. Is that always been your story?
It has, only because like the way that's what the same thing that I followed with the DNA test. When I start listening to something I'm a smart person, I think, but hearing something that is truly smarter than me saying, kind of guiding you in a way, going, hey, look this way, or pay attention to this. That's what I did. And I dream a lot. I have very, very vivid dreams, but I normally dream for other people. If that makes sense, I'll have dreams that'll involve other people. I'll tell them saying, hey, this won't make sense, but to me, but you're in this dream and this old lady came up saying, I've got to tell this person this message. And often, and I mean this in a way, not in a way that I'm the new Sylvia Brown,
right?
But in a way where they'll confirm it going, oh my God, that's my grandma. Or wait a minute, I know that location. And I'm thinking, my dreams are almost like a spider web. I catch things in them, and often I don't dream for myself, but when I do, it comes through, and that's the way it came through for me. It's like I was in the dream, I was myself. I was a different age, but I was myself right now. And that's when I noticed, hey, pay attention, Paul. This is something you're going to have to work on. So that's how these things come to me. I just learned to listen, you know?
Do you write them down, your dreams, afterwards?
No joke. I carry a journal with me everywhere I go. I carry a composition notebook. Yes. I have like 20 of these. I always carry it by my bedside. I can't type it on a phone. I have to write it hard copy. And even waking up, I'm thinking, let me, even if I can't read what I'm writing, I've still got to like write it out. Yeah, I'm never without this, just because it's in there, you know,
right.
Keeps it hard copy. Yeah,
Yeah. So the song, it's not really an Alice in Wonderland kind of riff. It's more your own experience with what was a Wonderland to you at the time.
Well, right. Coming from like the Kansas of what Santa Maria was at the time in the 80s, just this very dreary place, to this place where there was culture. There was gay people. There was like Kate Bush. There was Lithia Park. All of this magic was like truly stepping out, going through the looking glass and coming to this Wonderland. It was like wherever someone's Avalon is, it was my Avalon. It was like magic. It was like walking into Oz. It really, really was, in a very visceral way. Yeah.
Something that struck me since I first met you is you're such a fan. You're such an enthusiast. You love Donna Summer. You love Annie Lennox. And these people, growing up with a twin, did you guys share your passions, or were you into totally different things? Or were you both like, can't get enough of Donna Summer or whatever?
We both, when it came to music, we still worship Donna Summer. When Donna Summer passed away in 2012, it was the biggest loss both me and my brother have ever felt. We still talk about it. Even talking about May 17th, which is the day that she passed, is still a very hard thing for me to do. We were always connected with the music. My brother and I are identical twins. We're 3 minutes apart. The only psychic link we have is probably through music, and it's always through the Pointer Sisters, Donna Summer, Diana Ross, Cher, Kate Bush. It's always been through music. It is how we've always, even when like his siblings battled, gay twins will battle. We're going to be competitive, be like twins. You know, we're going to be Joan Crawford. One's going to be Joan, one's going to be Betty Davis. But our common ground where we realize where it's a truce is always with music. It's always, and probably through Donna Summer, honestly, it's always, that's our mom. Yeah. Yeah.
When it comes to having a gay twin, did one of you put it together sooner than the other, or was it about the same time that you realized? We
both could not help being the gayest little kids you could ever be. We would sing. We were both gay together, but sexually, I definitely came into it much earlier than my brother. My brother was such an innocent, such a sweet kid. And I was the 10, 11, 12-year-old who would wait during sleepovers for my brother to fall asleep and see the other kid who was sort of curious, and we would mess around. I was very, very...
You were more precocious, yeah.
Yeah, and never any shame, even as much shame as my family wanted us to have. I would just do the role. I'd say, okay, yes, let me pray. And I would give them the lip service, and then I would go out and do what I wanted to do. I never felt any shame, where my brother was much more trying to be this ideal that was never going to happen for him, for either of us. And I I just didn't give a shit. I just went with the music, and I went with Madonna. I'm like, talk about human nature. Like, I know what I liked, and I went with.
You just knew they were full of shit, and you knew that being true to yourself. These are all themes that are in this play that I've been writing.
I knew the words. I knew what Madonna was saying was true because she was always there for us. Even if I couldn't recognize that, I knew that seeing those gay guys she was talking about, even as a little kid at 9 or 10 years old during the AIDS crisis as it was coming up, I knew those men were like me. I knew that was my family. Those were my brothers. I didn't know how to verbalize that, but I knew that I was like them. And seeing people like Madonna, the Pointer Sisters, Phyllis Diller, different people that were standing up for the gay community, they were the family I trusted. I did not trust my mom and dad whatsoever. I gave them lip service because I didn't want to get my ass whooped any more than I already was getting it.
You played the part.
But I was going to follow where that music went. I was going to follow wherever Madonna went.
Wow, amazing. All right, let's listen to the second song on the album. I think it's Straightjacket. Is that the order?
It is.
As against my will as I struggle to figure out the words unsaid, I'm pulling against every buckle. Your voice tightens round my head. Surround me in the straitjacket of your smile. Ooh. Remind me, good things take a while. Yes, they do.
All right, so that's a little bit of a taste of Straightjacket, and we've talked about this topic on this podcast before because you're really into it. You have a fetish for it. First of all, is Straightjacket one word or two?
It can be both. It's 2 words typically, but it's also 2 words as well.
Yes, and I love it. And obviously the song is written by something that you've always liked, but when you're writing something that's really like that, that's going to be your song, you got to nail it, right? Because you got to nail it. You can't have a half-assed Straightjacket song if that's your thing, right? And I think it's great. I love it.
Well, Straightjackets is my fetish. Like, ever since I was a little kid, I loved, it found me. We connected with each other. I didn't find the Straightjacket fetish. It found me. And I just was always my joy. It was my happiness. So even having a song titled Straightjacket, it seems so dark because it is a darker element. There's so much negativity and stigma attached to it. But to me, and anybody that's in the fetish or kink community, it brings joy. So to me, it was like falling in love with someone, falling in love with, the song's written about my husband now, but my husband, John Boswell, when I met him, it was this smile. I was so, like a straitjacket trapping you, I was so hooked into this person that I'm thinking, this is the same thing. The way that I feel about this fetish is the way I feel about this love, and I can't help myself. I'm held against my will. I can't even, I'm a danger to myself. So it just sort of, the melody and the lyric came all together, and I'm thinking, this is the most joyous song about such a infamous type of tool. The kink community would get it. Maybe people that aren't into it will think, well, this is kind of a cute song. I'm sure my mom's going to be like, suspicious, but I'm sure she'll think, what a cute song, In my mind, I'm, yeah, great,
Yeah, there's that. That's so interesting. How many straitjackets do you have at this point? I think I asked you this before, but you may have gotten more.
The last time we met, I had about probably, I think, 18. I have 15 now. I sold because I have my favorites. There's a couple of really good manufacturers because they're not made outside of the fetish community. The institutional ones aren't made by those companies anymore. So I have about probably 15 now.
Are they still used in institutions? Are they considered humane, or have they sort of been canceled?
So they say they're canceled, and the companies say that they're no longer used. But the kink community and people that work in that field have assured me that the most directly are still used. They're not going to say it because it's got such a negative connotation, but they're used still in institutional settings. I don't know which locations. To me, it sounds like Club Med.
Yeah.
But
exactly. You're like, sign me up. It's interesting because you talk about the security feeling. When I have a dog that doesn't like fireworks, and somebody say that they have these kind of coats that they can put pets into that are tight, that sort of calm them down. That's what I was thinking of when you were describing that feeling. So there's a feeling of constriction, but there's also probably a feeling of containment and safety, I guess, in a way.
But it's also very, very sexual. It's also
No, for you, and I think of something you said in our first interview. I think of it a lot as you don't pick your fetishes; they pick you. That I think is true. You also enjoy a puffer vest and a jacket, which I share. And I'm curious, when you started being more open about this and being like, yeah, I'm going to do the tarot cards and all of this stuff, what did you observe about the reactions? And I'm asking because in this play, I'm exposing a lot about my own sexuality, mainly this feeling of sort of having missed the boat or feeling like I kind of am behind in it or a little
Let me say that because you're always right on time, though. I hear what you're
but the character and the way I feel, I'm expressing a lot of these feelings through that, and hopefully, one of the lines in the play, it's only too late if you believe it's too late. But true. I am exposing a lot of myself in this, and it's been interesting to see what that feels like, how people react. So when you started being really open about this stuff, what did you observe from the people around you and the reactions?
Well, the reason why I was open about it was because my brother was we were just siblings being siblings. We were not getting along. And I had done a Straightjacket photo shoot that he had helped with. And him trying to be angry, he and his partner said, we're going to tell your mom all about your fetish. We're going to tell your mom. And I'm thinking...
They were going to use it against you.
Yes. And that pissed me off to begin with because I'm thinking, I'm not ashamed of it, but it's like the fact that you would even try and weaponize my fetish, something that's very private at that time.
Yeah.
You're my twin.
Right.
I thought, you know what? Fuck that. I'm going to tell her myself. If you're going to do it, I'm not going to give you that permission to do that. I'm going to tell her. I'm going to expose the world. I thought, go ahead. I'm not running for president.
Right.
A political figure. I know that this brings me the greatest joy. And what have I got to lose? The right people are going to get it. The wrong ones, I don't want to be friends with you anyways. So when I finally told my mom, it sort of took the wind out of their sails, and but they threatened it for like about a month. And I thought, you know what? It was such a hurtful thing. That I wanted to take my power back. And I thought, no, there's nothing to be ashamed of this fetish. I'm so proud of this. This brings me so much joy. Whether she gets it or not, I just don't care. I take care of myself, and this is taking care of me. And I've known that whenever I followed that joy, and a straitjacket fetish has brought me so much joy, I'm not going to be lost. I'm going to be protected. So I was open about it. And when I came out with it, people I did not expect were so open and so excited about it. I got a chance to give 2 different talks to 2 different groups for these big writers groups talking about it. It became part of the vernacular of where I became known as a straitjacket guy.
Yeah.
My mom was cute about it. She was cute about it. This was before the Ron Charette and the whole DNA stuff. So she was very excited about it and just thought it was really cool. And I think that even made my brother and his boyfriend really upset because it didn't get her mad. It didn't make her disown me or whatever.
It backfired.
It really did. So I thought this was fun. Like, oh my gosh, following your joy with this and also owning it, you can't go wrong with it. So it really opened a lot of doors for me. In fact, even when I had contacted Dan Savage, because the one that came up with the term, you don't pick your fetishes, they choose you. And hearing that, I thought, you know what? That speaks to me. And seeing other people talk about it in different groups and in different Facebook groups and different Yahoo groups at the time. If you're old enough to remember Yahoo groups.
Yeah.
Or social media, that was the real start of it. I'm thinking, these guys that I know in this group, we're all a little weird and nerdy and strange, but we're happy. There's no darkness here. These people are into what they're into, and when they honor it, nothing but good things happen. Why am I going to hide this?
I think
I'm very open about it.
I think life is just a constant quest to be more of yourself. And to, you know what I mean? And the peeling away layers of stigmas and shames and all of that stuff. And it just keeps going, right? Did you meet more people that were into it than you thought you might meet? Or is there a bigger community than you thought there would be?
There was a bigger community with the straight community that I was surprised by. At the time, I was working for a couple of different fetish stores. I was working for the Stock Room and Siren, which was a latex boutique on Sunset.
Right.
665 when they had their boutique in West Hollywood. And a lot of guys were into it, which was great. but a lot of women were so much more open to it. And maybe that was during the 50 Shades of Grey craze.
Right.
But I had more women reach out and contact me going, oh my gosh, this is so cool. The women were extremely, extremely supportive of the openness of being adventurous. The gay men that I met that weren't already inside the fetish groups that I knew were a little more leery of it, but I found more straight guys that were much more curious and reaching out, or bi-curious guys in that way.
Yeah.
That surprised. Like, I thought it would be all my gay brethren, they're there, but by and large, it was the straight and the women in the kink community of that group that were much more open to it, that were much more like supportive in that way. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I relate to it so much because I am extremely open about sex in this play, and my gay peers, the people around my age, because we talk about sort of like being afraid of AIDS and like how that affects what you're turned on by or not turned on by, or what you feel like doing, or, you know, and just like all of that stuff. And I find that women will be more, I'll feel more connection with women after the show. Like there's something about it.
Other than the that would come into the stores, like at 665 or Siren, the people from Europe, the guys from Europe, were much more into the kink than the American people, the American gay men that I met. That was my experience. But the women were so open to the curiosity, and the fear or the draw of it, the excitement was overlapped the fear.
Right.
There was not judgment to it, which I'm thinking, it's always women that have been with the gay community. They're our biggest allies. I mean, I'm so grateful for that, but truly women have been there for the gay community in ways that I'm so grateful for. But even on a sexual side, when it comes to kink, there was so much more of an openness to play and to be free with that, more so than I've seen with my gay brethren so far. I'm hoping that'll change.
No, but I relate to this a lot because I just have this feeling that if the play that I wrote, if it has some champions that want to take it to the next level, I don't think it's going to be white gay guys that are my age. I think it might be women. I just don't think it's my people. I mean, I think they appreciate it or relate to it or whatever, but I don't think it's an interesting thing that they don't, I don't feel, I mean, some connect, and I've had some really good conversations after.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't know. It's maybe a few walls are still up or something around it, or there's a bit of like, you're doing that. You're being that open. Like there's a little bit like that. Like, I don't know. It's very curious. And you've been out doing this longer than I have with this play, and they're different things, but it is a thing of like, oh, I'm just telling you my sex stuff. Here it is. And I wish I could say, having done it, that I feel like less of an outlier in my community than I thought. That's not the case.
I love you're saying this, because I even think, even for I still spook out the theater kids, and the theater kids are such an outlier group anyways, because
right.
But those theater kids still pass judgment on me, which is cool. I love that. I must be doing something right. But like you, the women are so much more open to play and energy. And I think of women being such warriors, I'm so grateful for being a gay guy. I love being a giant kid. To be a woman is you have to have like such strength. And I wonder if with their strength, with that, and being so in tune on such a level where they have to be all the time, where men, whether you're gay or straight, men have always had it easier in that sense more than women. Clearly, historically
right.
We know that. But it gave them such an intuition to realize, what pleasure is, and pleasure and play is fun. Whereas guys can still be sort of like douchey about it.
Right. And also being able to admit you have insecurities around it, or you're afraid that if people know this, they won't like you anymore,
Yeah.
Like the risk of it. Anyway, it's very interesting, the parallels. All right. Let's listen to another song from your EP. The EP, again, is called Home to Wonderland, and this is The Skeleton Tree. You want to set it up, or should we just have a listen?
Let's listen to it first.
Okay, I love it.
Beneath the purple light and branches, I'll meet you under the sea that hides us safe in the arms of angels. You know your secret's safe with me.
Right. That's another vibe. It's very cool. When I first read it, I thought, oh, Skeleton Key, which I'd heard of, which is a different thing. But what was the inspiration for this song?
So I'm nearsighted. And if people that are nearsighted know that when you don't have your contact lens or glasses and everything sort of looks like a Monet.
Yeah.
It was during Christmas time in 2017, and my husband and I, we put up this Christmas tree that all of these violet and purple lights, and our cat at the time, Wooster, this incredible warrior of a cat, this old black alley cat that was just this dude, such a pirate, but he just was so loving to me. Wooster was this old senior cat that loved parking himself under the Christmas tree during that Christmas of 2017. All of these Christmas lights and the tree, a couple of nights at night, the lights would be on and we'd use it as a nightlight. It looked to me without my contact lenses like a skeleton tree, like it was made of bones. Mm. I could see the frame of the tree and it looked like bones, except it looked like it was a bony tree at Burning Man. It was like all lighted up. And I thought, wow, that's like a skeleton tree. And when Wooster passed, it was the biggest loss next to Donna Summer that I ever felt. You know, you're a pet dad too. So when a pet leaves, and Wooster was 19, he got cancer and he passed at home, which was great, but it was the biggest loss. How could anything this beautiful, how could anything this innocent go away? You know, like how could a death happen? How could a god or the Great Spirit ever take away something so beautiful, like an animal, such the innocence? So the song was written about the loss of Wooster, and in my mind, I would have this dream always back looking at the pictures I have of him under the purple lights. That's why I talk about the purple lights and branches. It's the Christmas tree, but without my contact lenses. Right. It looked like a tree. So in my mind, I'll always meet him back at the skeleton tree, and it was this old senior cat. In my mind, I thought we're just going to dance under the skeleton tree and be happy again. So it's a song about meeting again after death. We'll meet again at the skeleton tree and we'll dance. So it's about loss, but it's also about the loss of and connecting again. It's a song of hope.
Well, you write about there's a press release for this, and one of the quotes is, "My music is like dance songs for haunted hearts," and you describe one song as a seance in a song. Like, do you feel connected to the other realms beyond life? Do you feel like a back and forth with that?
I've come to embrace that. I feel like we always have one foot on one side and one foot on this side, and not that I'm in an airy fairy kind of place, but I've learned to. Yes, I feel like it's always been there, and like knowing like the DNA test and going forward, knowing I know that I'm not part of this family, and finally tracking it down 50 years, following it, almost like Odysseus's Odyssey journey, 20 years. I finally figured it out. You stay persistent. I stay connected to that side. I know that when I stay connected to that side, good things happen. I learn to listen, and even if it doesn't make sense, even if it's wacky or if it's like this sounds so nutty, I just have to listen to it. It's never not been in the right direction. So it's always been there. The same way I think that when I think about the hurt and the drama and the trauma, not really the drama, but the trauma that my twin and I both have suffered growing up gay in a very conservative and very violent household, it's affected my brother in a very painful way where I sort of had a very charmed experience that he did not have. And I think it's because I just followed that other side, that voice that would just say, okay, this isn't going to last forever. Just follow the music. Yes, I'm very comfortable around that haunted side of life, that ghosty side. Yeah. In a way, it feels home to me. It feels like home.
Yeah, no, it's interesting, and it comes through your lyrics and the way you talk about things and the tarot cards and all of it. And it's so interesting that you have a twin that's like a A/B study of your life in a way. You know what I mean? It's a way of they process this way, and maybe, I don't know, it's just interesting to have that in life. I've always wondered what it would be like to have a twin.
I'm so grateful to have that, to grow up with an identical twin who is gay. You go through life together. My brother is the closest family I've ever had, and we've gone through everything together. We both sort of raised each other. My mom and dad were so busy with their lives and their restaurants, and my mom very much lived for her work. And my dad, the angry guy, was so busy being angry that my brother and I, gratefully, were latchkey kids. We were left to our own devices in a way that we raised each other, and with that music. So we really, there's a connection in that twin strength where I'm so grateful in this lifetime. I am a twin. I got to experience that with someone that got the music of Donna Summer and Madonna and the Pointer Sisters that said, we can meet right here. This is sacred ground. We can bitch and argue about it and be enemies. But when it comes to this space, this is holy. We can't mess around with this.
Yeah, it's really interesting to have that. Mirage is the next song. Let's listen to a little bit and then talk about it.
Okay.
Sheila, come get your son, the one that you left when you went on the run. It's just a curse and camouflage. That's not a man, that's just a mirage.
What was the inspiration for this one?
And that was really a song about for my brother, actually. And it's a song that sort of hits on different things. It's about my I don't know if it's okay to say this or it's about loving someone who is loving someone who is self-destructive. And that's why the addiction this person is suffering with is a mirage. They think it's one thing. They think it's going to bring happiness and joy, and it's drugs. It's not. It's a mirage. It's something that's false. And loving someone who you try and fix that you cannot fix. You know, anybody that's gone through Al-Anon or has loved someone who has addictions, you realize that you can't want it more than they want it for themselves. But when you're in that, you don't know that. You think that love's going to be the answer. Love can fix any addiction. So it's almost like one person chasing the person with the addiction, and they're both chasing a mirage. Does that make sense in that way?
Yeah.
Where it's like, you need yourself. Look away from the mirage and look at yourself. And the lyric about Sheila, come get your son.
Yeah, that's the one that jumped out for me. And I'm like, is Sheila your mom? Like, who's Sheila?
No, Sheila is my brother's partner's mother. I meant it respectfully, but the drugs replaced the mother that he's looking for, who sort of left the family at a really, really vulnerable time for her own pursuits and left him alone. And he basically went towards self-destruction and drugs, trying to erase this pain.
Yeah.
So, Sheila, come get your son, the one that you left on the run. This person is a mirage. You know, this person doesn't need these drugs. He needs you. This person that's suffering with the addiction, you don't need drugs. You need your mom. You need yourself, but what you're looking for is your mom. And at the core of it, my brother, it's like, who you're chasing isn't a man, it's a mirage. You need yourself. So I remember reading a long time ago that Sheryl Crow wrote a song about her brother, I think, who suffered with addiction, called You Don't Bring Me Anything But Down.
Oh, yeah. I know that song. It was a hit. It was a single.
It was a song. And when I heard, and I'm paraphrasing this, I believe she wrote it about her brother suffering with addictions, and it was someone she loved who just could not get his shit together because of his addictions. And in my way, I thought, how do I channel this grief? I'm seeing my brother struggle with this. I'm seeing his partner, who I've known this guy for a very long time, I care about and I love, who I know that these guys are really magical together, but this addiction is just such a problem. And again, we're all men in our late 40s and 50s at the time. This person with the addiction is looking for his mom. Again, we're talking about, being big kids in adult bodies.
Yeah. Have they heard the song?
No, they haven't. In fact, I'm kind of nervous about it because I thought, I don't want this to come back and hurt their feelings. I want them to say that this is a song about your struggles, but it's like from someone on the outside going, everything you're looking for is a mirage. What you need is inside. It's not what you're chasing. The mirage looks like it's real, but it's not. So
yeah.
We might have to follow up to see what they say. You may not be talking to me at all. But I love the song because I did not mean it in a negative way. I meant it away from my heart, saying, like Sheryl Crow, how she created this art through pain. Yeah. I love you. I can't fix you. All the addictions you're trying to fix, you can't fix. You need each other in a way that drugs aren't going to fix and the running isn't going to fix. So that's what the mirage is.
Wow. All right. Interesting. And finally, you have the song Black Dahlia, which is about the real case that we know. And since I've known you a little bit in our interactions, you've always loved old Hollywood. You live in a kind of historic building. Like, you're always intrigued by the lore of Los Angeles and Hollywood. I understand this was inspired by reading a specific book, and then it just sort of took on its own life. So let's listen to a little bit of it, and then tell me the story of how this song came to be.
Baby, before you go, take this ring, make it sing in the night for you. Betty, don't wait, it's too late to give in to this growing fear. Don't get stuck here. A heart that's meant to run. Elizabeth, come home.
All right, there we go. I love it. I feel like a DJ doing these song little intros. So talk to me about why you wanted to write about this famous case and this person.
I read the book by Eli Frankel, Sisters in Death, The Black Dahlia, The Prairie Heiress, and Their Hunter. And it really broke down the myth of the Black Dahlia, who Elizabeth Short really was, aside from the legend of what the murder really happened. I mean, she was tortured. It's tragic. In fact, today is her birthday. As we're recording this, it's her 79th birthday, I believe.
Wow. But you would do that. You would commemorate it with your record release. Like, you always connect all those dots with meaning.
Found me. My brother recommended the book, saying, you've got to read this book. It really reveals who Elizabeth Short was, the woman behind the murder, because the murder sort of eclipsed her whole identity.
Yeah.
So, book, I connected with this woman's innocence. I mean, she was a 22-year-old woman who was a little too naive in a way that I'm thinking, and she dressed, like a woman. She's 22 years old, but she had a child's heart in a way that she had a trust where she took people at face value. And at 22, I had a mohawk, I had tattoos, I looked really tough. And I'm not saying that I looked really tough. I looked much more experienced than I really was. And I was in some really precarious situations where I'm so grateful I did not take a ride and something bad happened. So I related to Elizabeth in that way, where I'm thinking, I listened to those voices that basically said, no, Paul, it's time to leave the bar. No, you're not going to take that ride. You got to go home. And when I read who Elizabeth Short really was, I wanted to be her friend. She was only in LA for such a short time, and her whole life is now an LA experience because of her murder.
Mm-hmm.
Learning that when they retrieved her trunks from the Greyhound station after the murder, and she had this Black Dahlia reputation of, the sexual lingerie, the hair and all that stuff. All of her clothes were pinks and corals and lavenders. And I'm thinking, she was none of those things. She was a sweet, innocent person who got in over her head.
Yeah.
And I related to that in a way that I'm thinking, I was not smart enough. It wasn't just me. I had someone on that other side sort of going, Paul, it's time to go home.
Yeah.
Bar where I listened to that, where she did not have that. She had such no support system. Being a woman in 1947 at 22 on her own in a town she didn't know anybody, the bravery that it took to be in LA and survive as long as she did, I just related to her in a way. And all of a sudden these lyrics started to come to me where I'm thinking, even 80 years from the murder, I wanted to tell her, hey, as a friend, I'll take your hand. Let's go. Let's leave this place. Let's leave the bar. Let's go home.
Mm.
So it sort of came up. The melody came up there. And when I brought it to John Ballinger, he got excited going, Paul, let me handle this. Let's work on something. And I wrote the lyrics in May, right after I read the book. And it was the most emotional song I've ever written, because when you think about the Black Dahlia and who that woman is and what women have to go through, I'm thinking, oh my God, so it was a very emotional song, and recording it, I had to stop a couple of times because I would become so overcome, not at the brilliance of my words, but the words of saying, come home, and realizing in forethought, because we live in 2026, what had happened to her.
Yeah.
That I wanted to be her friend, and I wanted to tell her, hey, someone in LA loves you, you have a friend.
You have a friend in Hollywood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Other than the woman that she lived with for a short time.
Yeah.
That even 80 years from now, maybe, and again, that other side of wherever she's at, I think she sort of knows it, going, I know who you are, just as Elizabeth, not as the Black Dahlia, but come home,
Yeah, that's beautiful and really thoughtful. What did you learn about putting out your own stuff now that you've sort of are in the process of doing it? And would the songs come to you? And can I write songs? And what did you learn through the process of going into this new direction?
Be patient. The patience is such a big thing. And believe in yourself totally, and keep going, even if it sounds corny or it sounds crummy or it's kind of wonky to begin with. Everything starts from a broken place. Everything, you have to crawl and to walk, and you have to walk to run. If it's not wonky, if you're not embarrassing yourself, you're not doing it right.
Every soundbite could be the title of the episode. You're the king of those. Congrats.
Believe me, and I say that from a place of, I love to embarrass myself, not in a way that's hurtful, but in a way that I know that if I'm not embarrassing myself, I'm not growing. Yeah. So if you're not embarrassing yourself, if you're not being vulnerable, you're not doing it right. Just do it. Even if it feels odd, even at 50, you're thinking, oh my God, how am I going to compete with music or I'm old. I'm all these things. Just keep going. We live in a day and age where anything can happen. It can always happen. But
there was a line that I had in my play and I cut it, and you'll hear why when I say it. But one of the characters is like, we should just go for shit, like that's his philosophy. And he says, if the world's worst person can become president twice, then anyone can do anything. Right?
Yes.
I think that's sort of true. Why are we just do shit? Like no one cares. The rules, there are no rules. I don't know what we're thinking, So I share that sort of philosophy a little bit. Tell people how they can listen to your music, because I know I've read online that you have some complicated feelings about streaming, as do I. But I think your songs are available. So where can people hear you things?
I'm always complaining, going, oh, they can't find me on streaming. I had the nicest email today from Spotify saying, we've combined you. Paul Cher is out there. It's funny, all that timing, like I was complaining about going, F these people streaming this.
Yeah.
Streaming is where people find you. So I'm on iTunes. I'm on Spotify. Thank you, Spotify, for putting all my music together and making it viable.
Oh, so we don't hate them right now. We're good with Spotify. Okay, because I'm a little pissed at them. Because they're always with the ads, and sometimes they start breaking up songs in the middle of songs. Like, I don't know. I don't trust them. But anyway.
I'm still wary about it, but they got my picture right and they got my name right. But I'm on Apple Music, I'm on Pandora.
Yeah.
I'm on iHeartRadio, on Amazon. I'm on all streaming platforms. I did print a limited edition CD if you want hard copies, because I'm hearing CDs are making a comeback. For those of us that were raised in the 80s and 90s.
Yeah, I kind of want one. I have a boombox in my bathroom and I listen to it. But
they're still available. They're from my website, paulcher.com, or my website's always been Straightjacket Tarot, and you can spell it straight, like straightjacket anyway, straightjackettarot.com. But Paul Cher, I own that domain, paulcher.com. You can find it there, but any streaming service, paulcher.com, I'm there.
I love it. All right. I have a couple more questions, then we'll wrap it up. Our listening party. I love that we just branded it a listening party. It strikes me that you have a kind of higher speaking voice, but your singing voice seems deeper and richer. Like it seems a little different. Am I the first to think that, or have you heard that before?
I have heard that before, and I promise, all my vocals, there's no AI, there's no tuning. That is me.
No, I think it's cool. It's just it's a little bit of something I've just observed, right?
It's true though. You're very, very astute. When I sing, your vocal cords relax, and I can sing low, and I can sing very intimate, close to a microphone. So it's not difficult. So, but I do have a little bit of a higher voice, speaking voice that feels more comfortable. But so when there is that lower part, it's not tuned up. That's me just, not being excited, talking. My enthusiasm is not there. I'm trying to make sure that I'm on pitch.
Yeah.
So I'm more harder on myself going, you better get this right,
When you just said your enthusiasm, I wrote down you're an enthusiast. Like I remember reading your Facebook post when you got to meet Annie Lennox at Book Soup, and I was just like, this is fucking epic. Like you have a joie de vivre, right? Am I? So
I can't help through.
I guess my final thought is talk about that part of your personality. Has it always been there? Like yes. I just think you're like a light and a fun and sexy and like sweet and just like like your sunshine with tattoos or something and facial hair. I don't know. Thoughts.
You know what? It's following that voice. I followed the music. Honestly, I've always had it. And I'm not saying I'm not perfect. I've got issues like everybody else has issues, but I think when I follow the music, I follow the music, whatever if it's Madonna that brings you joy, if it's Amy Winehouse, if it's Ray, that kick-ass singer from Britain, if it's Kate Bush, whatever it is, follow that music. I followed the music, and that sort of became my church. It became what I listened to. So that keeps me excited. Annie Lennox.
Talk about meeting her.
So when I met her, I knew she was doing her book.
Yeah.
I briefly at Amoeba Music, when they were originally there, when she came out with their Nostalgia album, years ago, 10 years ago. And when we went there, I went there with my brother. My brother said, whatever you do, don't talk about, I'm a big fan of her 1987 album, Savage, that she did with Dave Stewart as Eurythmics. I love Savage. Even before it became hip, because it was so avant-garde, it was their worst-selling Eurythmics album.
Yeah.
But she had a whole video album to the complete album where she metamorphosed into this huge sort of drag persona creature, becoming this bored housewife, metamorphosizing to this creature that was Savage. And as a little kid, as a gay kid at 12 years old, it just spoke to me. I'm thinking, that's what spoke to me. I'm like, follow that, follow that. So when I met her in 2010, my brother said, don't talk to her about that, only focus on the album. So I did, and it was like, whatever. But I'm thinking, David, you're wrong. The next time I see her, I'm going to tell her, and I don't care how geeky I get, I'm going to tell her how profound Savage was to me. So I was in line, and she was so gracious. She was there for like 8 hours, I'm sure, a long time, and she didn't look as fresh as she looked before, but she was there the entire time. She took time with her, but she took selfies. She was great. I met her, and it was like meeting God. It was like what people see Joni Mitchell or anything like that. To me, it was like meeting God. There's a light about Annie Lennox. And I said, Miss Lennox, I have to tell you how profound Savage was to me. And she let it going, oh. And I just was gushing about how this really changed my life as a gay kid. It saved my life. She grabbed my hands and she listened to me babble on about these different tracks. And she would talk about how it was about how women are put in boxes. And she was relating to me where she was coming from. And at the end of the conversation, because they were trying to wrap it up, she was so gracious to spend so much time with me. I said, oh, and by the way, the song Stay By Me from Diva, I think is the most beautiful, perfect love song. And she grabbed my hand really hard and she goes, oh, you do know my music. I mean, our music. And there was such a warmth. I was on fire. I thought, do I need to get an Annie Lennox tattoo? I'm not a stalker, but I'm thinking, how do I honor this moment? I have met God. How do I?
So she said, you know my music. I mean, our music.
Yes.
What a profound thing to say. And what a gracious thing to say.
Anybody that wants to say, oh, don't meet your idols, meet your idols.
Yeah.
They're having a bad day, whatever. But if you love Annie Lennox, she is authentic. She is real. She is a feminist. She's a revolutionary person, but she is truly gracious. And I'm so grateful I got to finally tell her how much Savage meant to me. And she was so nice to me. I was on a cloud nine for like 6. I'm still on cloud nine talking about it. I'm reliving it.
Yeah, I can see you getting emotional about it. It's so beautiful. But you have a light inside you, and I admire it. I think it's really cool.
I was just follow the music, whoever you're deep, whether it's Kylie Minogue, if it's Annie Lennox, follow that music because it's gonna be in your DNA. It's gonna change your chemistry on a biological level and on a spiritual level. Just follow the music. I can't stress it enough. Follow it, and also embarrass yourself. Go out there. If you're not embarrassing yourself, you're not doing it right.
Wow. All right. That relates. That resonates with me for sure. This has been a delightful conversation. So thank you for sharing your music, and people should go and stream it and listen to it and buy the CDs and support you. I think that what you've created is really cool.
Thank you so much, Dennis. Thank you so much. And congratulations on your play. Thank you. So
yeah. Are you doing anything on Sunday at 5:00?
Maybe. What do you have planned?
That's when the play is. It's the final. We've been doing staged readings of it. We've been doing performances of it. Yeah.
I'll be there.
I'll send you the info.
Please.
Awesome. It's great to see you. All right.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks again to Paul Cher. Check out his EP. It's wonderful. It's called Home to Wonderland. His other music that is on streaming is awesome too, especially the Cher covers. I love them. They're so haunting and cool and different. So check it all out. All right. His website is also straightjackettarot.com. You can learn more there too. All right. So this happened. We were talking about, shame around sexuality and being open about things. And that reminded me of a reading or a performance that I saw by a past podcast guest named David Pevsner. He wrote a show. It's like a musical review called Schwingen. And it's spelled SCHWINGIN'. Anyway, he's been on the podcast before. He has a passion for posing nude, and he has an OnlyFans page, and he writes really great musical theater songs as well. So he sort of combined the two, and he talks about his journey, sexually and also like in terms of enjoying showing off and being watched and all of those things. And he does it through music. And he did like a review for friends, just to get some feedback and stuff. And it was a couple Saturdays ago, and it was really cool. And I really enjoyed it. Especially there were a few more heartfelt songs. Like he writes really clever ditties. There was one rhyme with urethra, and I think it was see-through. I can see through. I don't know. Urethra and see-through. I don't know what it was, but it was my favorite. It made me laugh out loud. But anyway, I hope he has a future with the show because I love the story that he told, and it was very tuneful, and he's a wonderful performer. So keep an eye out for that. Hopefully he'll get to do a full production. All right, that's enough for this week. I want to thank you guys for listening. Shout out to Oscar Rosario for mixing my episodes. My theme music is by Mark Daniels for Placement Music. We'll catch you next time on Dennis Anyone. Bye.
Sold! Here are the keys to your new home. New beginnings sound exciting. From a new marriage to a new home, having access to legal help comes in handy. With Legal Shield, you can connect with a designated law firm that knows your state laws, helping with prenups, real estate contracts, and even wills and estate planning, starting around $1 a day. Legal Shield. Real lawyers, really affordable. For 10% off your annual subscription, sign up at LegalShield.com today. That's LegalShield.com. Legal Shield does not provide legal representation or advice. See a plan for complete terms.